Donald Trump continues to fight the left's lawfare in New York. Earlier today, his attorneys filed a motion to have Judge Engoron recused from that sham civil fraud case. Remember, that was about a case about valuations, and he's the judge that put a valuation on Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. And if you want to buy a 2-acre lot in Palm Beach, it's on the ocean, even though Mar-a-Lago's on the ocean and on the intercoastal and a historic property and a club and 54 bedrooms, et cetera, in pristine condition. Yeah, the 2-acre lot would cost you, well, between $1.5 million and higher. Anyway, accusing him of engaging in actions fundamentally incompatible with the responsibilities attendant to donning the black robe and sitting in judgment. And while the left continues to spend time and resources waging endless lawfare against Trump in New York, the city, they are reeling from more shocking crime. Remember the pro-Palestinian mob that took over that building at Columbia University? You know, the one that required the NYPD officers to climb through the open window to evacuate that building? Well, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, the guy that ran on getting Trump, his office announced today charges would be dropped against the vast majority of those rioters. Why? Ask yourself. The answer is simple. Their last name is not Trump. And meanwhile, the left is in full panic mode as we wait for the Supreme Court of our great country and their decision on Trump's immunity in the January 6th case, which could come any day now. Now, Trump legal spokesperson Alina Habba and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz join us. Alina, let's look at this case. This action refers to a conversation that Engoron allegedly had with the New York City real estate attorney regarding the merits of this case in which he's the judge of, and the permissible scope of the New York State Attorney General's and the court's own authority under executive law. And here's something that really shocked me, and the consequences of this court's decision on business in the state. Okay. Is any of this, including the $18 million valuation of Mar-a-Lago, ethical?
No. But misapplying law to fact is very different than what this motion is. And I just want to be really clear for the listeners on what happened here. This attorney, Mr. Bailey, went on TV bragging about the fact that he had spoken with the judge that was sitting on our case, Judge Engoron. The judge had not issued his final decision on this case. And this attorney, who has sued Trump, Sean, more than 6 times, has now gone up to a judge sitting on an active case and spoken to him about the case. That is not allowed. He never notified the parties. Not allowed. This goes way beyond anything else that we already know. And it gave us another reason to say, yet again, you need to step down. You need to take your robe, your code of judicial conduct seriously. As we know and have heard, there's obviously the Office of Attorney Ethics and Judicial Commission looking at this. But we cannot wait any longer for these judges to sit there and make the right decision. So we have to act. And the Trump team's going to continue to push and put the true facts out. We've also subpoenaed the individual, and we're going to look at what their communications were and see how much more corrupt, let me correct myself, this case is from what we already knew.
Would this vacate the decision?
If this was influenced, if we do find out about it, absolutely there are grounds to vacate the decision for a reversal. Frankly, as we know, this case was a sham to start with. As you said, Bragg has completely dismissed people that were violent on campuses. But when it comes to Trump, we have a different standard. This has to stop. I can tell you in November, I would push President Trump 100% to correct the judicial process and to stop this dual system of justice. It has to. We have to reverse it. The case was a joke to start with, just like every other case against President Trump.
Let's get your take, Jason Chaffetz.
We're talking about the valuation of Trump properties, and you had, this testimony that was so sharp. It was so good. And they're going after Donald Trump on these paperwork issues. There are people getting murdered and slaughtered. There are people that of a certain faith, the Jewish faith, that are being intimidated on the streets of New York. You have protesters that are violently going after these buildings, defacing buildings, taking over buildings. You have these New York City cops that have to put their lives on the line. And then they go and they drop all the the cases against those people. Instead, they want to go after Donald Trump because of paperwork issues. What the crap is wrong with New York?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I don't care if it's a civil case or the sham trial that took place, with Alvin Bragg, and yet it continues. But meanwhile, the people that take over buildings in New York are the people on videotape, Jason, beating the living crap out of police officers. They don't even get charged. They get a slap on the wrist and they get walked right out the door, and they get no bail. Explain how that's justice in America.
Well, it's not. And everybody sees it. America understands this. America understands that it is fundamentally not justice. And you know what? Americans are very fair people. They're very forgiving people. If it's a kid on a ball field and he gets wronged, you know what? Everybody says, hey, that was wrong. And that's why they're looking at Donald Trump and they're just saying they're picking on the Trumps. They're picking on the Trump kids. It's not fair. That's not who we are in the United States of America. And at every opportunity, Joe Biden could have done something to show that he was magnanimous, to show that he was fair. He never, ever did that. No. This guy is evil in the way he attacks the Trump family.
All right, last word, Alina, Habba.
I'm just really proud of the team, and I want to say one thing very clearly. I know that everybody hears a lot of noise of this legal lawfare against President Trump, but as we've seen, every single one from Jack Smith to Fannie to now Engoron will come down crashing like the domino effect that they are. They are fake, and we will clean house in November, that's for sure.
All right, Alina, thank you. Jason, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.